Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a card with you using lots of new products released by Time for Tea Designs. Now I'm using first of all the paper plane balls, the card critters and the Slimline postage stamp frame dies. These products are all so amazing, and as is the rest of this release. But well, we need to start with something. So today I'm showing you this card with some of my favorite images from both stems. So I really love this llama. This one is from the card critters, but I really wanted to use it as well as the bunny. So that's why I took these from the other set to combine with the paper plane. But at the same time, I also wanted to show you that these sets can be combined perfectly together. And that's just handy. That's just wonderful. So, I'm coloring these critters. I stamped them out on Transotype perfect coloring paper, and I'm using my Copic markers to color everything in. Now, the llama. I try to keep it fluffy by using those curls, but you can color it in any way you like. Onto the bunny, I'm also making sure that I'm using the backs of each of the critters as well as the planes to decide where my shadow is. So actually the faces normally, or that was my intention, are highlighted. So I'm starting with my first layer, and as you know, I need 2 layers. So if you don't like the first layer, don't be bothered by it. Just wait and see what the other layers bring. But this bunny is one of my favorite brown combinations that I use really often, I know, but it's a good combination. So I'm not looking for specifically try to change up the combinations. I think it's interesting to know what other combinations are out there, but if you're stuck with one combination that you really like, that's just a bonus. Also, I'm leaving the accessories for now. As you can see, the panda and llama have those scarves. I'm going to use the same color, but at this specific point during the coloring, I didn't know yet which color that was going to be. So starting on the planes, I wanted to keep them really soft, but still give them some shadow, so I'm using my favorite G combination. I also realized that I needed some refills of this combination because I use it for everything. I use it for clouds, I use it for snow, for water, for planes now, you know, I'm using it a lot. And then I ended up using a bright pink as my color for the accessories. So I am using RV 29, 25, 23 and 21. This is a combination that I have just right next to each other in my Copic marker collection, and I tried them out together and they work so well together that I use them again and again and again. So if I'm looking for a bright pink combination, I'm sure I will get this combination. So doing that also led me to which color I was going to use in the back of my galaxy. Pink. So that you will see later on. Now we have this die and there is this bar on. You can cut it off if you want to, but if you leave it like this will give you that slit to put your critters inside of that plane, and I just love that about it. Now I have those tinier planes because my bunny and llama are facing towards the left. There isn't a slit because it's a tiny plane, and I think the intention originally was to keep it more as an accessory, but I decided that I was going to add oversized critters inside of a tiny plane. So I'm using my craft knife and I'm creating that slit myself. And I must admit, I am not really a genius when it comes to using craft knives. I truly am not. I'm also terrified that I will cut into my T-square ruler, because I cut in a lot of rulers when I needed to use this in the secondary. So just because of that, I was a bit afraid and I had to go back and forth quite a bit to get that slit large enough for my 2 critters to fit inside of it. but I think it's really funny how it turned out because the critters actually are the same size, but two of them are in a tiny plane. But I like it. That was the idea. So now onto my background. I cut this Slimline panel using the newly released Slimline Postage stamp frame die. And actually the lovely thing about this die is that there are so many dies inside of this one set. You can do a lot with this set, and I love that about Time 40 Designs. They add so much more to their die sets. I just love it. Also about this background. Normally, if you watch my videos often, you know that I like ink blending on Nina, that I like ink blending on Transotype Perfect Coloring Paper. It's not forgiving, but I like it. I'm used to that. Now, if you're new to ink blending, or if you want to ink blend with distress inks which are less forgiving than distress oxide inks, then I suggest using using Strathmore Bristol Smooth. And that's what I'm using today. So as you can see here, the ink stays wet way longer than what I normally have with Transotype, with Nina. That also means for me personally that in between I need to heat set my panel to let the inks dry, because otherwise I'm just moving the inks towards the other side, which is not what I want. Okay, so it took me way longer than what I'm used to, just because it was a long time ago that I used this paper. But as you can see, if you thought that I wasn't speaking the truth, you can see that the ink stays wet longer, so you can wiggle the color around if you need to. Or if you're doing a gradient, just from the top to the bottom or the other way around, then it will definitely help you if you're new to ink blending. Again, if you prefer oxides, they have a chalkier finish. If you prefer that, I personally don't think that you should be bothered about the paper, because that ink is forgiving. But well, personal opinion. But any paper works, some papers just need a bit of practice. So here I'm going with black soot on the edges to just give it a bit more, and then I'm blending that out again, just going back and forth every time, again and again, until I'm happy. Also adding that pink again, and then afterwards, when I'm happy with the blend, I am going to add lots and lots of white splatters. So even if you think that your background, or maybe mine that you're seeing now, isn't good enough, then wait a bit and add your splatters. Now, if you want to add water droplets like I'm doing, then I definitely recommend this paper, because there are papers like Nina and Transotype that cannot handle water. So this is not an option with the other papers for me personally, because I just see that the paper is ruined. You know, you can lift up the ink, but it's going to ruin your paper. Next, your gouache. Now, I said it a lot of times already, but maybe this is your first galaxy that you see from me. If you have a gouache at home to get your white splatters and you think, well, when it dries, the color is coming through, then you probably use too much water. So try to dilute your gouache as minimal as possible. If you cannot splatter it, okay, add a bit more water, but try it with less water to keep that pigment and the thickness of your gouache. Now, when everything was dry, I could continue. And as you saw, I used this sentiment smile from the Smile Inverted Scallop Frame die, another newly released die, amazing die. I love it. I truly adore it. Newly released, now I'm not sure. Maybe it's from the previous release. I don't know anymore. But it's a lovely one, and that's the most important part. Because I love the script. And I just also love that it's not only smile that you get, but you get frames, you get the smile, and everything fits together, and just a lot for your money. Okay, Now I first added these two white ones on top of each other. I'm laying them out, making sure it's straight, and then later on I will add the other one. I cut it out of Petal Pink mirror card from Tonic Studio. And I just love this because it has the same color as on my Galaxy. But when you tilt it towards the light, you can see all sorts of colors. So that's nice. And once that's added, I'm going to add those critters. Now about this new release and just in general, if you're interested, I have a promotion code in the description box that will give you 10% off your order on everything at Time for Tea Designs. So check that out in the description box. I'm also listing to all of the products that I'm using today because I know there are a lot of products. I kept the Copic markers limited, but I know that there are a lot of products. Also, if you want to just read this again, how I made this, I also have a blog post also linked in the description box. Normally, I try to give you as much as possible in the description box, but you never know. If you would have any questions about this card, about the products, about anything, you leave it in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay? So here I'm adding the critters using some thin foam squares. I love these foam squares. These are from Scrapbook Adhesives. They are perfect. They're the perfect height. They are really lovely to get the backings off, which is not convenient for all the foam tapes and foam squares that you have. So I like it. And then when everything is adhered, I'm going to add this panel on top of a Slimline card base. Trying to center it, so that's why I'm using liquid glue. This gives me a bit of wiggle room. And then I decided that I wanted to finish this card using some amazing iridescent stars. These are for Studio Katja. I just love the iridescent part as well as the dimension that they bring, because there are several iridescent stars that you can find. There are the itty bitty stars, there are these stars, and then there are the larger stars, but without dimension. And I just love that these have that. So once I'm happy with fiddling around, I am going to add them using some liquid glue. And then I had to decide, adding more, because you can add glossy accents and you can add stickles, or leaving it like this. Now I was brave. I decided to add the stars and step away from this card. Yes, sometimes less is more. No, I really think with the iridescent stars and with the smile that this is plenty of embellishing, of spectacular. No. Okay. So, and with this card being finished, I am so glad that I could show you all these new and amazing products from Time for Tea Designs. Again, if you want to shop there, you can get a promotion by just using the code in the description box for 10% off. I hope that you enjoyed this video and of course that you liked the end results. As I said, any questions you can leave in the comments and I will get back to you. I hope you have an amazing day. I wish you all the best and I will be back soon with some new crafting inspiration. Bye!